have the means to unite the country, the world, in seconds.
It's perfect.
Imagine putting that power in everyone's hands.
Japan, Zurich, LA on board?
The network. Everything's in place.
Seaman lived in Michigan until April when he moved to Rocky River. His neighbors were shocked by his arrest.
He was a real clean-cut, nice guy. You know, he's been over to all of our houses around here. He's been in. My husband played golf with him once or twice. The last person you would ever expect.
Living next door to him, did you ever talk to him or say hello?
Sure. Oh, and he was friendly. Always, you know, as a businessman, he wore a suit all the time. And we never once dreamed that he was capable of something like that.
Seaman is now being held on $750,000 bond on rape, attempted aggravated murder, and aggravated burglary charges in the North Olmsted attack. Seaman will be arraigned on the charges in North Olmsted later this week. Michigan authorities say they'll wait for lab test results before deciding whether to charge him.
The accused killer of a WUAB teenager is asking that his murder and kidnapping trial be moved to another county. 27-year-old Donato Lombardozzi of Mayfield Heights is charged in the death of 16-year-old Christy Montrella. Lombardozzi's lawyers claim that Cuyahoga County prosecutors have not proven that the high school student was killed in the county. Her body was found in a wooded area in Highland Heights after a massive search last month. County prosecutors oppose the move, saying the fact that the victim's body was found in the county is enough to keep the case here for trial. Common Pleas Judge Donald Nugent is expected to hear the request next Tuesday. Over $500,000 in damage was left in the wake of a Cleveland Heights fire this afternoon. Crews were still busy with the mop-up late this evening from a blaze that spread from the High Tide Variety gift shop to several upstairs apartments. Residents were all safely evacuated, while one firefighter had to be treated for smoke inhalation. Several adjacent stores sustained heavy smoke and water damage, though. Cause of the blaze is still under investigation.
CMHA's King Kennedy Estates has had its share of headlines recently. At the beginning of the month, law enforcement officials threw a dragnet over the area to try to rid the community of drugs. Tonight, reporter Ben Holbert tells us local housing representatives are taking steps to improve living conditions and are asking residents for help.
Because these projects is dirty and they really need this thing clean.
There's an old adage out of the mouth of babes, and that saying couldn't have more credence today. Garbage and litter and signs of neglect in a place where people call home. While some cries for help rebound off of walls, a welcome answer could come as soon as Saturday. A team of volunteers plan a cleanup drive for King Kennedy to try to rid the area of graffiti and filth. You can help the effort by calling 432-3810. But tonight, residents attended a meeting called by the Cleveland Office of Housing and Urban Development, spurred on by rumors that the estate is a target of demolition.
We don't want to be relocated. We love where we live at, okay? So you take that back, and we're not going to give up.
If I had known that King Kennedy was like it is today, I never would have come here.
We got to get down here. We got to stay down here. We got to live down here. Yeah. We have to turn this thing around ourselves, and it's got to be about a black agenda based upon self-determination and do something for yourself.
Overall, many residents say they like the area. Good location with schools and convenient medical facilities. But their anger is directed toward deteriorating living conditions.
If a housing authority wants to dispose, sell, demolish any of its housing, 1 unit or 20 units or whatever, that in the process of HUD reviewing that, and if it approves it, that there has to be a one-for-one replacement. In other words, you tear down a unit's got to be, a subsidized unit has got to replace it.
The comments that these HUD officers have heard from the residents will be compiled and given to the Chicago HUD office, where a recommendation will come on the future of King Kennedy. In Cleveland, I'm Ben Holbert reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
2 men initially charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of a 3-week-old boy will not go to trial. Prosecutors have dropped the charges against 27-year-old Thomas Gallagher of Cleveland and 24-year-old Jeffrey Anderson of Lyndhurst. Little Darius McFarland was killed April 23rd when the car he was riding in slammed into a utility pole. Police said the two men were chasing Darris's mother, another woman, and the child after an argument, and that a bottle thrown from the men's automobile slammed into the woman's car, causing the accident. Prosecutors decided not to pursue the case because the baby's mother and the woman driving the car have given conflicting statements to police.
Shopping. It's a popular teenage pastime, but shoplifting is a prevalent teenage problem. Some students at Lorain High School say it's better to keep your hands in your pockets, and they're waging war against shoplifters this week. The high schoolers are presenting skits, movies, and posters to junior high and elementary students in hopes of convincing them paying your way is the only way. Lorain teenagers admit stealing has become child's play.
One of my fellow students at school talked about one of their experiences stealing a VCR in a grocery cart.
How did they do it?
They stuck it in the bottom of the cart. They looked around, made everyone think they was looking at clothes. They had one in the front, one in the back, one out the door. So no one was looking, took it out the door, stuck it in the car, took it away, and sold it.
60% of all shoplifters are under the age of 18, and their illegal habit costs stores millions of dollars each year.
The RTA's Red Line rapid transit system sure isn't what it used to be. Ridership has just about hit rock bottom due to the chronic concerns over security, safety, breakdowns, and slowdowns. Jack Marshall says the push is on to make the Red Line a success before it's too late.
There were plenty of Red Line RTA riders at Hopkins Airport today, but they weren't exactly regular customers. These dignitaries came to help celebrate the Red Line's 20th anniversary of its airport connector.
It was a great day.
They heard from Judge Carl Stokes, then mayor of Cleveland, talk about the good times of the airport rapid transit. The only damper on this party is the cold hard facts of what has happened to the Red Line over the past 20 years. In the early 60s, before the airport link was added, the level of Red Line ridership was nearly 20 million a year. By the early 70s, the new Red Line connector had only about 12 million annual customers, and the decline continued to its present level of less than 6 million riders a year. RTA General Manager Ron Tober.
We recognize that we've got a problem, but over the long term, if we're not successful in getting more people back onto the rail system, then we're going to be forced to take consideration of other alternatives, because it is a very expensive service to operate.
But even Ron Tober admits the losing trend may take years to reverse. You can see for yourself. The crowds were nowhere to be found on most Red Line cars this afternoon. It's a negative image RTA must repair as it passes by hundreds of potential riders every day. The RTA's Red Line has not only lost riders, but over the years it has lost its appeal to thousands of Greater Clevelanders. The company's plan right now is to improve the system and bring new riders back in while still hanging on to its regular customers. And it's the regular customers like airport employee Lenita Kirkland who says this is the only way to travel.
Park my car, you can disappear. Get on here for $1. Can't beat it. Takes you right into the airport.
Well, it's fine. It goes smoothly. I'm real glad it's here because I don't know how I'd get my car otherwise.
Today, it appears more and more people are using their own cars to get around rather than asking RTA for a ride. It's more convenient, but more costly.
What would I do if I didn't have the rapid? I would have to drive.
Cost you a little bit more money?
Yes, sir, it would. Cost me about $5 a day when I drive.
In Cleveland, Jack Marshall reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
Just ahead, Palestinians here and in the Middle East are celebrating Independence Day. But what does the declaration mean for Israel and the United States? We'll have that story.
There are new problems facing American farmers. And just ahead, Little Rock, Arkansas says welcome home to a tiny little boy. We'll be right back.
Winter comes through in any kind of weather. This is the all-wheel drive Ford Tempo. It can save you from rain, mud, and snow at the touch of a button. And now it can save you $500 on option. See your Ford dealer and you'll come through a winner.
Why should you join the wholesale club? Just ask our business members.
I can buy cheaper here from me being a retail store than I can from the wholesalers that I normally buy from.
I save quite a bit of money, $1 or $2 a box on candy, and at the end of the year that mounts up quite a bit.
It's still cheaper for us to send someone here and take the time to come and get them than it is to buy them from a wholesaler.
Looking for better wholesale prices? Join the club, the Wholesale Club. 4 Cleveland locations and North Canton.
Awesome.
Every weeknight, Channel 43 is playing your funniest favorites. Starting at 5:30 with Webster. Then it's Michael J. Fox and Family Ties. Followed by Disorder in the Courts on Night Court. At 7, America's First Family of Fun, The Cosby Show. And at 7:30, head for Cheers. Every weeknight.
Channel 43 plays favorites.
Palestinians are calling today Independence Day after the Palestine National Council proclaimed Palestinian independence in a ceremony early this morning in Algiers. Well, here in Cleveland, jubilant Palestinians formed a motorcade which made its way to a large reception at Cleveland State Student Center. There they chanted, "Long live Palestine" and "Long live the PLO." In addition to declaring an independent state, the Palestine National Council accepted a UN resolution which implicitly recognizes Israel. PLO leader Yasser Arafat says the ball is now in the American court, as John Sweeney reported.
On the day he declared independence for Palestinians, PLO chairman Yasser Arafat came to a news conference bearing an olive branch.
We feel that the ball is now in the American court. It is true that this is the Intifada session of the PNC, but it could also be the session of peace. The session of peace if U.S. administration and Israel wish.
But, flanked by the widow of the assassinated PLO leader Abu Jihad, Arafat also let it be known he has not locked up his machine gun.
If we are met with a rebuff, only God knows the outcome.
The early morning reading of the Declaration of Independence and acceptance of accompanying UN resolutions acknowledging Israel's right to exist concluded the 4-day conference. It is hoped the worldwide publicity will give a boost to the nearly year-old Palestinian uprising and force an international peace conference leading to a Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza Strip with Jerusalem as its capital.
There is no excuse anymore from Israel to say that the Palestinians or the Arabs want to throw us into the sea.
Has shown the world that the Palestinians are determined to live in their own land.
Palestine is now an independent state on paper, and many Arab nations were quick to recognize it. In the real life of Middle East politics, however, Arafat himself said it best. We have a long road to go and many sacrifices to come before we raise the flag over Jerusalem. John Sweeney, CNN, Algiers.
The Soviet Union has successfully launched the space shuttle test flight. The space shuttle Buran touched down in Soviet Central Asia following the unmanned test flight. Today marked the first launch of the craft, which lifted off this morning, orbiting the Earth twice. Plans to launch the shuttle 2 weeks ago were scrapped by a last-minute technical glitch.